Good morning, this is ShankxCast talking to you live from San Antonio, Texas. It's 10 a.m. here in Texas, so good morning, America, and I would say good afternoon, people in Europe. We have a very interesting ShankxCast today. It's episode number 3, and I was asked to talk about how you can actually monetize a blog. So we all know that a lot of people make money writing blogs, running blogs, and the question is, how does that actually happen? So first, a disclaimer, I'd like to say that I personally don't live off of my blog, but I have studied this topic often and long enough that I can talk about it, and I will point you towards people who actually make that happen. Number two is a lot of people refer to making money with a blog as they refer to it as passive income. And what I would like to say is it's not passive at all. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most active ways you can make money online. It really takes time, dedication, and discipline. If you would like to have 3 good examples of people who make a lot of money running their blogs, go have a look at scottyoung.com. He writes about how you can learn new skills fast. Another good example is Maria Popova. She has brainpickings.com. She is an MIT fellow that basically does very intellectual book reviews. Great place if you're looking for interesting books. And then another blog that is truly amazing for this kind of information is Pat Flynn's smartpassiveincome.com. He is basically the godfather of making blogs, making money with blogs, and he has a wealth of information for you out there. So check that out. In today's ShankxCast, we'll talk about how you make money with a blog in the first part, and then in the second part, we will talk about some best practices and how can you actually get started with a blog and what are the specific tasks that you need to undertake in order to be successful. So let's get right started and talk about how do people make money with a blog. Now, essentially, we're talking about you are either selling your services or goods through your blog, or you are selling someone else's services or goods through your blog, or you're selling advertisement for other people on your blog. And another variation is that you can be paid in order to write certain blog topics. So, for instance, if you are a thought leader in the gardening industry and someone has a new kinds of seed that they release to the market and they get you to actually write about it, then you might be able to be paid for that. So let's talk about sales through your blog. Well, that is really the traditional idea of I have a service, I have a good, and I use my blog to let people buy that service or good from me. Number 2 is something that is a little more subtle. It is when you, through your blog, enable other people to sell more services or goods. And that is typically referred to as affiliate marketing. Have you ever wondered why, if you have looked at a certain car and then you go onto other websites and all of a sudden you see that car you have been researching, you see that pop up everywhere? Well, that is exactly how affiliate marketing and remarketing works. So basically, people provide their web presence to other advertisers so that they can reach more potential customers. And the way you sign up to become an affiliate marketer is either through Google AdWords, or very often you can sign up as an affiliate partner directly with a company in question. So for instance, if you are a web developer like I am, and very often you need to help people find the right kind of hosting, you can either point people to hosting providers that you like to work with, or you can become a partner of a hosting company. So in order to find that information, you would go to the company's homepage and scroll down to the bottom and look for something along the lines of become an affiliate partner or become a reseller partner. And the way this works is that once you are a partner, that company will provide you with a link that you can use to implement in your blog posts, or to maybe hide behind an image. And whenever that link is clicked on your page, the visitor gets a cookie on their computer, meaning the browser will remember, usually for a time of 30 days, that that person has been referred by you. And if the person ends up buying or buying a service or a good, you get a commission, or you get some kind of monetary gratification. Now, probably the easiest way to get started with this is become an Amazon affiliate partner, because it's very hard to find a good that is not sold on Amazon. So if you, for instance, like to write about books or really anything that Amazon sells, you can present it, make a case, and tell people here is the link to the Amazon page where you can actually buy it. And if that person actually ends up buying, then you get a referral commission. I have a question here. Is partnering costly? No, it's not costly at all, because those companies have in their best interest that you find them customers or clients. So really what they will do is they will either approve you right away, or they will check if you are professional enough for them to collaborate with. So they will ask, what is your company's name? What is your website? Do you have a social security or an EIN number? And then they will just do a quick background check on you, and then you'll get an approval. But typically it does not involve any cost for you at all, because they really get out of this a lot. And very often, even what they'll do is they'll give you a better price for their product than they actually sell it for on their own platform. And that is because essentially what you do is you bring them business. So in a way, they pay you to bring them more business. There are companies that focus on organizing the affiliation idea for other people. One good example that I know of is called shareasale.com. So if you sign up with Share a Sale to become an affiliate, then you have access to a very large number of products and services that you can decide to promote on your blog and website, and the whole tracking of commissions and referrals will happen in one spot, which is in that back office of Share a Sale. And that way you don't have to apply with individual companies to become a partner, but you can just always use that same source. Now, it's not caution, but one thing that you need to understand is that this is considered real income. So here in the US, if that company is serious about what they're doing, they will want to know your social security number or your EIN, and at the end of the fiscal year, they will provide you with the W-9. So this does affect your income situation, so just be aware of that. I don't want you to be maybe in a special situation where you can't have an income of more than X amount, and then you may lose some benefits or just be in a very different situation. Another thing you can do is you can sign up with Google AdWords to be a member of what they call their display network. Because when you see these Google advertisements on other websites, don't think that each website owner has organized this on their own. No, they have signed up with Google, they get a little code snippet from Google, and they place it into their website, and automatically people who have agreed with Google for them to manage their advertisement, automatically advertisements will be placed on your website. Now, one word of caution here, don't overdo this. You don't want to have a website that looks like a cheap tabloid that's only trying to sell you. Don't overdo it. Try to have very nice and precise placements of advertisements that are relevant to what your website is about or your blog is about. Okay, so if there is no other question around how do people actually monetize a blog, kind of the techniques and specifics, and I know this was very short, but it's a huge topic and it's something that I have been studying and learning for years, so it's really difficult to put this into 15 minutes. But I want to go on and talk a little bit more about how you can start a blog and what you need to do in order to be successful. And this is something that doesn't happen overnight. That you have to be disciplined, you have to be patient, you have to be organized, you have to have services, patterns in place, and you have to understand that this is not instant gratification. You plant a seed today and it may bear fruit in a year, maybe in 2 years. It really takes a lot of time because this is a numbers game. It's all about how much quality traffic you attract to your platform. So let's talk. I have structured this with questions that I received from my friends Ashley and Dario from Houston. They are interested in starting a blog, and they have come up with some questions that I think will be very interesting to structure this discussion. So the first question was, what does a successful week running a blog look like? That is a very good question. And I would say a successful week is a week where you find the motivation and inspiration to do what it takes to run the blog. Because one of the hardest challenges you will face in this is the answers to the question, what should my next blog post be about? What is it that my target audience, that my followers are truly interested? And I can tell you this is something where you need to do a lot of trial and error in order to find that sweet spot that tells you this is really why I have a readership. This is really why someone follows me. I am certain you have a favorite presenter, a favorite TV show. And you know, no matter what show it is and no matter what topic he or she will talk about, it's going to be great. Just because you know the style of how this person presents the topic and does the research is a style that you can relate to. So over time, you have to experiment and find out what is the style, what is the topic, how do I have to present my content in order to make sure that I'm truly relevant and helpful to my readership. Because people return to your blog because they love what you write and because what you write helps them in a very specific way, because they can relate to what you have to say So, in all honesty, you have to know your stuff. You can't just decide to start writing about a topic and not be knowledgeable about it, because in that case, you will just be one of millions of other people who start a blog hoping to make a quick buck, and that's not at all how it works. I can tell you, I write a lot of good and high quality content, do a lot of research, and it's very slow but steady that my readership increases. In a perfect week, you find the time to think about all of this, to do your research, to produce good content, because good and engaging content may not only be in the form of text. You may have to go out and interview people. Let's see, you may have to conduct experiments where you just follow and document an experiment that you do, or you test products or services and then write reviews. So the thing is, you need to be creative about this. It's not just about producing boring, barren text. We live in a time where there is so much information. In order for people to actually pay attention and be interested, you gotta make it interesting and make it interactive. And by the way, the future in this is gonna be found in video. As you can tell, I mean, I'm doing this and I track a lot of metrics, but this video here will create 80% more engagement by my followers than one well-researched blog post. And beyond video, in the future, there's going to be virtual reality. So part of your perfect week also consists of finding time to learn and educate yourself about new trends, about new ways of doing things. Because this is something that never ends. There's always the next thing. There's always the question of what social media channel is popular right now. Is it Facebook, and then there's Instagram, is Twitter, then there's LinkedIn. Who knows what's next? So you have to be on top of that and follow it, and always think about how that component of publishing your content can fit into your strategy. You have to think about traffic a lot, because, and by traffic I mean the site traffic, the visitors on your website. You have to measure it. You have to get good at using Google Analytics. You have to get good at using measuring tools, because if you don't measure what's going on your website and how people react to small changes you might make, then you really wander aimlessly and you have no idea whether what you do works or doesn't. So measure everything, document everything, and do experiments, do A/B testing, do multivariate testing, and see what can I change and how does that change affect things like how long do people stay on the website, and how engaged are people, and of course in the end, what is my conversion rate, how many sales, how much income do I actually generate. The second question was, what makes a post enticing? I would say what truly is important here is that quality matters a lot more than quantity. You know for yourself that there is so much information out there that you really want to take the time to read, listen, watch content that is well researched, well presented, and that is really relevant to your situation. Oh yeah, important. Your blog post or your piece of content should not feel like it is only a sales pitch. That's not gonna work. What people are looking for is honest and truly valuable information to them for free. And then at some point, when they trust you enough or when they truly believe that you have information or skills that can help them, then they will choose to work with you, buy from you. Or in the case of affiliate marketing, if you truly write good articles and refer to good vendors that are related to the topic you write about, only in that case people will actually click on your links and they will actually like the things you refer them to, and they will actually end up buying something, which is when the commission for you gets triggered. I have a question here. How do you learn Google Analytics? Anyone teaching it? It's really a field on its own. You have professionals that all they do is learn how to set up Google Analytics and work with it. I would say the easiest way to get started is to read the documentation on Google Analytics or to watch a course on lynda.com or one of the many online platforms. Or you can, of course, also hire a consultant like me who kind of gets you started. But it is a never-ending story. It changes all the time, and it is a science on its own, really. So another question that Ashley asked is, how many followers does it take to really make money with this? And that's a very good question, because she already guessed that it takes quite a lot of followers. And this is all about the marketing funnel. So those of you who are a little bit familiar with marketing know that at the beginning, you have this large number of people who see your information. Then the next step is people who actually consume your information. Then the next step is people who act on your information. And this is a very simplified version of the marketing funnel. Of course, sometimes it takes multiple touch points until people actually react to it. But just to give you an example, I send out a newsletter and I can see that only 20% of the people I sent the newsletter to actually open it. So if I send out 100 newsletters, only 20% open the newsletter. Now I include links to my page or to my articles into my newsletter. And I can see that only if I'm lucky, 5%, so between 2 and 5% of the people who actually open the newsletter will actually click on a link and end up on my web page. Now, from those people that end up on my webpage, which, again, if it was 100 people I sent a newsletter to, maybe now one person ends up on my webpage. General statistics say that only between 1 and 3% of the people who end up on your web page actually will buy or buy a service or good from you at some point. And this may really vary largely depending on the industry you are targeting. But I mean, I think you get the idea. You need a lot of traffic. and there's a lot of competition. And that's why I'm telling you, don't think that you start this now and you live off of your blog tomorrow. That's not gonna happen. The last question Ashley had was, how long does it take to create a website if you hire someone to help you? My answer to that is, it depends a lot on you. Do you know what you want and what you need? And is what you think you want and need really what you want and need? Because very often you can't know, because you just don't have the knowledge, you don't know all the questions that you need to ask, and thus you can't know everything. And that's why you hire people that will help you with UX, with research, with design, with branding, with a content strategy, and finally building the website. But say, in an ideal case, you were perfect and you knew everything, you knew the answers to all those questions, then I would say, and this of course depends on what kind of quality you want your website to be and how complex, and is it just a simple blog or does it have lots of bells and whistles, but I would say a good average of 2 weeks. If you come and bring all that information, 2 weeks is probably a good average of how fast you can have a website up. But it really depends. And usually 2 weeks won't do it, but it's more along the lines of 2 months. Okay. Actually, I did have another question that I forgot. It was, what's the first question I ask someone who wants to start doing this? And the first question I would ask is, do you really know what you want? Start with the end in mind. You can't start a blog and be unclear and unspecific about what your blog is going to be about. You need to, in an ideal case, you find a niche, you find a topic that there are not so many blogs out there already that talk about it. You find something that you have a lot of knowledge about. You find something that you are passionate about. And you start a project. You really plan it. And again, that's why web professionals, designers, UX people will help you go through that process, because it's not easy. But really, the first question I would ask someone is, what's the purpose of doing this? How exactly are you going to do it? And what will you talk about? All right, so we have reached 28 minutes and Facebook will cut this off at 30 minutes. So I will stop this now. Thank you for having listened to my ShankxCast today. If there is anything else you would like to know, you would like to go in depth, get in touch with me. That's what I do. I will help you. Also, if you have found this video helpful, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website, wherever you are. You really help me a lot by helping me share this video. I thank you so much for having been part of this live video today, and I hope I will see you next Sunday on 10 a.m. Central, where we will talk about another fantastic topic. So have a good day, and thanks for having joined me.